Salutations viewers, my name is GameDame and welcome back to another one of GameDame Reacts. So I was a little hesitant on making this video only because I have very strong opinions about Cyberpunk and they're not good opinions, and I know a lot of people might either agree or disagree, but it seems to me that they wanted to put something together after the atrocity that they released. So I'm going to reserve my thoughts until the end of the video and see what they have to say. So without further ado, let's watch CD Projekt's commitment to quality to Cyberpunk 2077.
Hey everyone, my name is Marcin Iwiński and I'm the co-founder of CD Projekt. When I started CD Projekt 25 years ago, one of its founding principles was honest and direct communication with gamers. When CD Projekt Red, the game development part of CD Projekt, was born, it added something important to that principle, the ambition to make the best games in the world. It became our mission and something that guided us up until now. Based on that legacy of genuine and honest communication, you've trusted us and pre-ordered our game. And despite good reviews on PC, the console version of Cyberpunk 2077 did not meet the quality standard we wanted it to meet. I and the entire leadership team are deeply sorry for this, and this video is me publicly owning up to that. Please don't fault any of our teams for what happened. They all are incredibly talented and hardworking.
I did say I was going to wait till the end of the video, but while your development team did they did a phenomenal job. The lighting, I was blown away by the aesthetics of the game. The game was absolutely beautiful. I'm not doubting that at all, but your marketing team was the one that pushed it. And for a game this massive and this large, should have waited at least another year so you guys could do quality assurance testing on it. Because when I got the game on PC, you didn't even apologize for PC because it was insanely broken. Anytime I minimized it, it would crash. And that was like 20 plus in one of my streams. It was incredibly frustrating and severely disappointing to have a game I was looking forward to so much, to have it completely crash down and me not enjoy the story at all. Yes, did I enjoy some parts of the story? Yes, but I wanted to rush through it just so I could finish the game and say I've beaten it. And it made me not want to pick up the game again. So I think they do owe PC players, and I have a really good computer too. So I had no problem running it at the highest settings. But I think they owe PC players, just anyone, an apology, not just console. I just think overall they completely rushed it, and yeah, but let's keep going.
Myself and the board are the final decision makers, and it was our call to release the game. Although, believe me, we never ever intended for anything like this to happen. I assure you that we'll do our best to regain your trust. Now I'd like to tell you how the situation looked like from the inside. Cyberpunk 2077 is huge in scope, and I'm not only talking about quests or things you see at first glance. I'm talking about a multitude of custom objects, interacting systems, and mechanics. In the game, everything is not stretched out over flat terrain where we can make things less taxing hardware-wise, but condensed in one big city and in a relatively loading-free environment. On its own, this is a challenge, but we made it even more difficult for ourselves by wanting to make the game look epic on PCs and then adjusting it to consoles, especially old gens. That was our core assumption, and things did not look super difficult at first. We knew the hardware gap, yes, but ultimately, I think that time has proven that we've underestimated the task. To give a concrete example, and the main culprit, we had to constantly improve our in-game streaming system for all-gen consoles. Streaming is responsible for feeding the engine with what you see on screen, as well as the game mechanics. And since the city is so packed and the disk bandwidth of all gens is what it is, it constantly challenged us. Every change and improvement needed to be tested, and as it turned out, our testing did not show a big part of the issues you experience while playing the game. As we got closer to the final release, we saw significant improvements each and every day, and we really believed we would deliver in the final Day Zero update. Now let's talk about the review process.
So I'm going to pause him there. I think what they should have done is released it in alpha stage and beta stage for how massive this game was. And he makes a good point. I mean, they had a lot of, they didn't have as many issues as all the rest of the users had, but wouldn't that, like a game like Subnautica, for instance, insanely one of my favorite games of all time, and they have that stuff released in like alpha and beta mode for people to test out and constantly improve their game. Because I mean, while he said the issues that we ran into didn't necessarily are the issues that they ran into, you would think they would try to see other mediums in order to test to see what other issues could arise. And me being a UX UI person and a web person in general, I'm constantly testing my things. I'm constantly sending them to other people. I'm constantly seeing what new issues could happen if something like this happens. You have to really, while you do have to think at a high level for this type of stuff, you also have to think at the most basic of levels when you are testing. And with a game like this, for how massive it is and how much shit you have to do, you should take more time into the testing phase to ensure that on release that it works. Not perfectly, because nothing's ever perfect on the first try, but it works almost perfect, or the way you want it to. So that's where I think they should have done. I think they should have released it in alpha and like beta stage for people to try out beforehand to pick out more bugs, so that way they can address those. But that's just my personal opinion. But let's see what else he has to say.
We started sending our PC review keys in the first days of December. On launch day, December 10th, we hit the ground running with a really good start on PC. While not perfect, it's a version of Cyberpunk we are very proud of. At the same time, we're fighting for quality on all-gen consoles till the very last moment. And every extra day of us working on the Day Zero update brought visible improvement. This is why we started sending console review keys on the 8th of December, which was later than we originally planned. This all happened while working from home with all the challenges resulting from the COVID-related restrictions.
And that is another point I wanted to make. While I am like completely shitting on it, I totally understand that there was a lot of COVID restrictions, but wouldn't that warrant for more time then, especially since everyone's working from home from a certain amount of like not everyone will have the top-notch computers that the company will have. So you should be giving more time, especially during this pandemic. You shouldn't be rushing it. While I understand you wanted to release it as soon as the consoles were out, you should have waited another year at least because of the pandemic, because people are working from home, because not everyone will have the same quality of technology that you provide within your company, unless you allow them to take it home. But at the same time, and I didn't know that they sent out review keys. So, I mean, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about releasing it in like alpha stage and everything. And that's cool. But they still should have went that instead of just the review keys that they selectively handed out to people. I'm still standing by my statement as to how they should have just released it in alpha for everyone to try, for all sorts of amount of consoles, for all sorts of amount of PCs. They say they're proud of the PC thing. I beg to differ on my part. What I got on my PC was an atrocity. It was awful. Beautiful, but broken. Let's continue.
A lot of the dynamics we normally take for granted got lost over video calls or email, and we took that hit too. Now I'd like to tell you about our plans for the future and present a path for Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles and PC. We have already released 3 hotfixes improving the game, but that's just the beginning. Our ultimate goal is to fix the bugs and crashes gamers are experiencing across platforms. Please expect bigger and smaller patches on a regular basis. The first update will be dropping within 10 days, and it will be followed by another, more significant one in the following weeks. We will, of course, continue to work on the game in future updates and improvements beyond that. Our big plans for supporting Cyberpunk in the long term did not change. As for the free DLCs, our initial plan was to deliver them just after the release, much like we did with The Witcher 3. We decided to focus on the most important fixes and updates first, and we'll be releasing the DLCs afterwards. Expect more information in the upcoming months. For those of you playing on next-gen consoles in back compatibility, you can still expect the free next-gen update for Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5 arriving in 2021. We are aiming at the second half of the year. I'd like to end this video by assuring you that we treat this entire situation very seriously and are working hard to make it right. The guiding principles of our company are still core to what we do. We still want to make amazing games and have an open communication with you, our players. For now, our immediate focus is to work hard on making sure you enjoy Cyberpunk 2077 regardless of platform. Beyond Cyberpunk, we have many plans for the future, which we'll share more about when we're ready. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.
So I appreciate not to completely, what is it? This videos were created in English, so only the English version fully reflects our message. Subtitles in other languages were added solely for your convenience. Okay, that's nice. But so I'm not trying to completely shit on it, but I wouldn't say hurt. I guess hurt would be a better way to describe it, because I was incredibly excited for this game. And to see it plummet on day one for me was just absolute nonsense. Not only did I pre-download the game, but it took me an additional 8 more gigabytes for it to download even more content. And when I thought pre-download, it would pre-download the entire game, so that way I could actually play it as soon as it's live or whatever. I get if there's like a gigabyte or two, but like 8 more gigabytes to download, that took me an hour and a half, and I have really good internet speeds. I mean, it was most likely the Steam client, and that's where I got it on Steam. But it was just, I think overall, it was not the developers' complete fault. I think, yeah, it's not their fault. It's the marketing team. It's the way they pushed it out so fast, especially with everything that's been going on, and not everyone having the same situation as their coworker. I think they totally could have done a much better job as to how to present this, as to how to, let the users help fix the bugs along with the other quality assurance testers, and just push it back. I understand you need it out. Well, maybe not need it out. I just hate it when people, I see this at my job all the time. You rush a project that's supposed to be insanely good, and you hype it up, and it's going to be great, and then it just falls flat on release, and like it's not great. I was just really disappointed. So I'm incredibly butthurt about it. Like I was waiting for something that was going to not change my life per se, but change like my gaming perspective on a lot of types of games, because I've never been really one into I like open world RPGs, don't get me wrong. I would have to say Breath of the Wild is my favorite, but this was a completely type of new dystopian type thing where I could play someone I'm not, and then try to make decisions based off of exactly what I thought V would be. I just didn't like the way, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of the voice acting, a lot of the colors, the aesthetics, a lot of the movement was great. I wish there was a third person view, besides doing it in like your car or something. I wish you could have done it like just while you're walking as well. I mean, I have a lot of quarrels with this game, but I'm just very disappointed, especially how it happened on mine. So I had on my game, anytime I minimized, it crashed, for like a solid 2 nights, and then it was fixed afterwards, which was nice. But then I had a lot of T-poses, and then I had a lot of invisible people. I had a lot of invisible cars. I had a lot of invisible like objects, and it just totally broke my immersion with the game. So like when I was getting to the more hard and heavy hitting points of my game, it just was silly because I didn't know who I was talking. Well, I knew who I was talking to, but I couldn't see them because it was just broken. Like I said, this game was beautiful but broken, and first impressions are incredibly important. I don't know if I'll ever pick this game up again, even if they do make all those fixes. I don't know, guys. I mean, that's just personally my opinion about this situation. I know we all have very different opinions about this, but this was just my experience with Cyberpunk 2077. I know usually you shouldn't get hype up too much, especially with games that come out beforehand, or something like this would happen where you just get completely dumbfounded and you're just like, well, shit, this game wasn't at all it's cracked up to be. I know they did a lot of work into this, and I'm very happy with the amount of work, because I know that they got individual sounds from the cars for all the car noises. They took real care to detail with each and every little bit within the campaign. But like I had floating cigarettes. That was something else that happened. It was really funny. Don't get me wrong. The cigarettes were floating all the time with Keanu Reeves or anyone else who was smoking with me. But like, it was just so, my immersion was broken too many times. I couldn't play it. I got angry playing it every time, and I got bored. I just got bored with the fact that it kept breaking. I got bored with the story a little bit. I felt like the story could have been a little bit better. But it also felt like a game that I've played already. Just like the story, while it is original and it has Keanu Reeves, I feel like that's what hyped it up the most was Keanu Reeves. I feel like if without him, it probably wouldn't have gotten much attention. But that's just my pure speculation. So, I mean, agree with what you will, you guys. But, you know, I'm just expressing my personal opinion about this game and how I was very disappointed with it. There were a lot of good things, but there were also a lot of bad things. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the game down below and what system you played it on and why you loved or did not love it in the comments. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I highly appreciate your time as always. But please do not forget to subscribe and or follow not only to my YouTube, but to my Twitch. You guys know where my YouTube is at. But you can find my Twitch at twitch.tv/thegamedame. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.